Emma Chamberlain, one of the biggest YouTubers, period, did a video, an honest video on her fear of flying. And there was some things that I thought was really powerful that I wanted to talk to you guys about from a licensed therapist perspective. So before we get into it, I want you to be honest. Put in the comment section, do you have a fear of flying? And if you don't, what is a fear that you're currently struggling with? One of the biggest things that I found out when watching this video about Emma was that she experienced a lot of conflict. I'm talking about internal and external conflict. It's interesting when your body does something different than what your mind is thinking. Talked about loving to travel and wanting to go new places all of the time. But then on the flip side, she was like, I'm annoyed because in order to go to some of the places that I want to go to, I have to catch a flight. So this inconsistency was bothering her. And it was slightly confusing on what she should and shouldn't do to overcome this fear. Because she was honest enough to say like, yeah, this happens majority of the time when I fly, but not every single time when I fly. So sometimes I'm pretty much okay, and other times I'm completely freaking out. She talked about something that a lot of us probably do unknowingly. She talked about bringing someone with her on the days when she knows she's going to travel and it's going to be a struggle. So it was like her being able to control her own self, her own emotions, her own anxiety, or put that pressure on somebody else to be able to relieve her symptoms. This is why I love the fact that she went on this flight from LA to New York all by herself. And she was bold enough to capture the moment to bring us along with her. The second thing that I want to talk to you guys about, which Emma mentioned, is the less that she does a thing, the more symptoms she experiences. She talked about how when she doesn't travel that much, when her travel plans are pretty much spread out, when she does travel again, things are extremely worse. Her symptoms, her anxiety are on a 10. And I think this happens with any type of fear. When you don't conquer that thing, when you don't do it frequently, when you don't show up and push past the discomfort, it becomes worse. So think about somebody who's fearful or very scared to speak in public, right? Like one of the things that I do outside of doing, YouTube is I am an award-winning speaker. And so people forget that I'm human too. And even though I don't show it externally, there are some times when I also feel nervous, but it's like the more I do it, the more muscle, right, I build. The frequently I do it, the easier it becomes. But when I'm not on stage for a while, or I haven't had an in-person speaking engagement, or it was just virtual, I get a little bit more nervous than what I normally typically would. I think this happens for any fear, not just the fear of flying. And before I move on, it has come to my attention that only about 4 to 5% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed to my channel, and we have to get that number way up. So if you are enjoying this video or any of my other videos, it would mean the world to me if you press that subscribe button and hit the notification tab, because that will help me to create videos like this for y'all every single week. Now let's get back to it. The next thing that we have to talk about is how Emma used grounding techniques or coping skills to help minimize her anxious symptoms. She talked about bringing this facial wand that she would rub on her face because you can change the settings to hot or cold, and that was very relaxing for her. She talked about bringing her iPad, her earbuds, this sleep mask that she wound up losing on her way to New York, and even some food. She talked about that banana bread, okay? And what I love about this was that really a lot of these were attached to her senses. I often tell people that when you are experiencing anxiety or even forms of depression, you want to use something that's going to ground your senses. Have something that's going to smell good that you love, like lavender, or something that's going to calm you down, or your favorite scent. Have something visual that you can see to kind of distract your mind from what's going on. I love how she had her iPad. She can use that for touch, right? But she can also use that to listen and to see, depending on what she's using the iPad for. She obviously can, use her sleep mask to cover her eyes to make things dark. And she also had taste, okay? She was using that banana bread as her reward system for if she does good on this flight, even though she wound up eating it ahead of time. I also love too that little facial wand was a temperature thing, right? So if she found herself getting really hot, because a lot of people who experience anxiety, they do experience heat in their body, right? They get real hot all of a sudden. They're like, whoa, open a window, turn on the fan, right? And if she was experiencing that, she can use her little facial wand to put it on cold and rub her face, rub her neck to calm her body and to lower her body temperature. We have to talk about how she got real superstitious on us. Like, I was like surprised that she was like, I get real superstitious when I'm about to fly. I was on the phone with someone and I told them bye. And she was like, wait, not bye, because bye means I'm never going to see you again. I had to knock on wood. Like, she was doing all of these superstitious things. The most powerful thing to me that she did was she prayed. Now, if you know me, you know we love good prayer over here. You know, I am a woman of faith. And I know she said that she basically doesn't know what God or who she's praying to. She kind of gave like the agnostic feel, like, I know there's a God up there, but I just don't know who it is or what they do. She gave me agnostic, even though she said that she just creates her own religion in her head. She prayed. And she used prayer multiple times throughout this video as a coping strategy. I think that that's a good one. Because when all of her symptoms were on a 10, and I love how she captured the moment. She put her phone up there and she let us see, because obviously sis was first class. Okay, she was in business class, she was in first class, she had her little bed where you can lay back. I said, oh, she's fancy, because if she was in coach, she wouldn't have been able to do all of this. We saw her like holding on as the plane was taking off. We seen her closing her eyes. We seen her holding her hands to signal that she was praying. We saw her heart racing, like you can literally see, you know, her heart in her chest, like going up and down, and breathing was much faster than it normally should be. She even talked about being tearful, like she wanted to cry and she was looking around and, you know, doing all of those things. So we got to see a physical representation of what somebody could potentially be on the verge of having a panic attack looks like. The dopest thing that she did was when she made it to New York, she congratulated herself. I don't know if you guys realize that, but when she got into the hotel with her luggage, she was like, yay! I did it, I made it, I didn't die. And I know that that was probably like a little funny thing that she was doing, but I was like, no girl, encourage yourself, because pat yourself on the back. You did good. You did make it. You are still here. And I think sometimes we forget to encourage ourselves or to congratulate ourselves when we do hit a marker and a milestone, instead of just waiting for the end destination. And while she was in New York, she got a chance to implement her support system. She didn't even realize it, but her two besties who live in LA happened to be in New York at the same time. So instead of her being by herself, having to go to her meeting and just flying in and flying out, she was already like, I want to extend my trip and to hang with my friends. And she did. We saw her hang with her homeboy and they went out to eat and they were walking around New York and kikiing and having a good time. And I think her nervous system needed that. Her nervous system needed a support system, a buddy to say, even if they didn't talk about the anxiety or the fear of flying, but just someone to bring her down, for someone to connect with her on a one-on-one level, and just to be like, hey girl, I love you, I got you, it's gonna be fine. And it probably helped take her mind off of things for her upcoming flight as well, because remember, she went to New York, but she also got to come back to LA. Speaking of LA, and on her way back, she experienced something that we all experience when we go through some things, and that is getting triggered. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the lights flickered a little bit when she was on her way back home. She said that the plane was rumbling or making this loud noise that it doesn't typically make, and she was freaking out again. Looking around to the stewardess and the flight attendants and everybody else like, oh, is this normal? Is this okay? Because it doesn't feel like it is. And that is something that happens all of the time. When you are experiencing a fear, when you're experiencing something that doesn't feel good to you or your nervous system, you can get triggered, right? And all of those symptoms that we talked about before, racing heartbeat, crying, you know, changes in your breathing, all of those things, temperature, getting hot in your body, those are things that typically happen. And so what you do in those moments matter. Are you gonna freak out? Or are you gonna remind yourself that, hey, just 2 days before I was on this flight, Delta does this flight 1,000,001 times. I didn't die then. I got through it. Guess what? If I did it before, I can do it again. And so she used all of the same tactics, all of the coping skills, all of the grounding strategies that she used on her way to New York on the way back. And she also didn't die. I know exactly how that feels because I also previously used to be one of the people who wouldn't fly well. That's what I would say. I just don't fly well. I would get freaked out. I never ever thought that I would die because I know planes are extremely safe, way safe than a car. But I just felt overstimulated when I get on flights, right? I would get on, there's a lot happening. I got my luggage, there's a whole bunch of people. People are waiting to the last minute, still on the phone, being loud. The plane is making noises. The stewardess is talking over the microphone. You're trying to get settled. Babies are, the conversations are like, it's just very overstimulating. And I had to sit down and realize that was my thing. I was like, I feel overstimulated on flights, which causes me to freak out. My thoughts are spiraling. My chest, my breathing gets a little bit intense. And I'm like, what am I about to do? Am I about to have a panic attack here? I also had to do all of the strategies that I teach y'all to do, right? And so I started to do that and I got better. And now I don't have those issues when I fly at all. Just because you have a fear doesn't mean that you can't overcome that fear. I just want to shout out to my manager, to my friend, Kiaundra Hill, for even putting me on this video by Emma Chamberlain, because I thought that this was a very powerful video, not just for her to be vulnerable, but for other people to learn as well. So thank you so much for watching another video on my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Be blessed. Bye.